Our first guest tonight to discuss these security clearances and how they're being used as political weapons in some cases, and the calls for Rosenstein's recusal and much more. Joining us tonight, Congressman Ron DeSantis. He sits on the Judiciary Committee, Foreign Affairs, and Oversight and Government Reform Committee. He's also the leading Republican candidate for governor of Florida. President Trump has announced he'll be joining the congressman for a rally in Tampa that's scheduled 1 week from tonight. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Well, I look forward to you covering that rally, Lou. It'll be a big deal.
Well, that big deal we're certainly going to be covering, and I'm looking forward to it myself. Now, let's turn to Congressman Meadows and the Freedom Caucus, of which you're a part, and what is going to happen here. I mean, Rosenstein should have recused himself at all sorts of junctures in this witch hunt, as the president refers to it. What's likely to happen?
Well, look, Lou, this FISA application really validated what the Nunes memo had said. Remember, people had said originally, oh, the dossier wasn't a part of it. And then Nunes said, you know, it was. And then you look at it, it was a key component of this thing. And it was never verified, and it was used, and assertions were made. By the time Rosenstein signed the third extension, they were including facts in that had been proven to be false. For example, the idea that Christopher Steele was not the source for that September 2016 Yahoo News article. Initially, they had the footnote saying Steele denied, we don't believe Steele's the source. But by the time Rosenstein signed the extension, Steele publicly admitted he was the source. And so it was a really problematic thing. And I have questioned Rosenstein in public about this. How can you be the guy on the front lines of FISA abuse and this stuff when you signed one of those applications that we're concerned about?
And everyone is concerned about it. We see the introduction now of a resolution to hold Rosenstein in contempt of Congress. What are the odds?
Well, look, Lou, I mean, I think if you put it on the floor of the House, I think Republicans would vote for it. The question is, will that make its way there so that we have a chance to go on record? But I think we got to do it this week because Congress is going to go on a recess until sometime in mid-September, and they're not going to have a lot of time then because people are all going to be worried about getting out of here for the election. We should have done this months ago.
Is that an elegant and careful criticism of the lame duck speaker who months ago did not do it, nor has he done it today, and is unlikely to do it by the end of this week, as you again say is absolutely necessary?
Well, look, Lou, we obviously need the redactions to the FISA thing. I think it will further substantiate what we've been saying. And then we need the documents involving Strzok and Page and the beginning of this whole Trump-Russia collusion stuff. I think there's a reason why they don't want to give it, but we should not let that stonewalling carry the day. So, yes, I think the Speaker, the Majority Leader, Whip, I think the whole House leadership should get behind this effort, say now's the time, otherwise we will proceed tomorrow with a contempt.
I'll ask it again. I know it must be tiresome to you. Why are you all putting up with Speaker Ryan? He blocks every move. He is absolutely insistent upon a Republican defeat come November.
Well, look, Lou, I think there's an open question, though, about just how many votes we have to try to do some of the things that we all want to do. I mean, I don't think it's the case that we just have 235 votes, and if Ryan just let it out, everyone would be happy. I mean, there's some members who just haven't really gotten involved in trying to get to the bottom of this, and you even have some members who've gone out and have defended Rosenstein from time to time, which I don't understand how they're doing that, but they are doing it. So we have a critical... Well, we have a critical mass of people who I think have been on this for a long time, but you know, in the House, you gotta get those 218.
Who have sold out to the establishment, the leadership, who are, you know, they're on lock, stock, and barrel by the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Roundtable, the Koch brothers, Wall Street, and the list goes on. Right?
Well, look, Lou, it's a swamp. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. If it wasn't a swamp, you know, Trump wouldn't be saying he wants to drain it. So, but I do think holding this bureaucracy accountable, this is the front line of draining the swamp, and we've just got to do it.
And in that regard, why doesn't the president simply say to the Justice Department, those warrants are now declassified, move ahead?
He should.
And 400 of the 587 pages were released. Everybody's clapping like seals, but the fact is that it's still 180 pages haven't been released.
Exactly. He should order that released, order the documents about the start of Crossfire Hurricane release, then order the documents involving any spying against the campaign release. You can protect sources and methods doing that. But we want to know, what did the FBI do? What were they doing? And here's the thing. I think the president wants to do it. I think he's getting pushback in the White House because they're saying,
you're saying
they're
White House lawyers.
I think that what they're going to say is, oh, well, you're just interfering with Mueller. It's not an interference with Mueller. First of all, he has the right to do this anyways. But as we've seen before, I mean, any move he makes, they'll say, oh, obstruction of justice. I don't think that's valid. I think he should do it. But I think that's the concern, is that it's clear there's no collusion at this point. So why kind of ruffle those feathers? But I have been urging, and other members have been urging, let's declassify this in a good way and put it out for the public. We would get a lot of these questions answered, and then the accountability could finally begin.
Congressman Ron DeSantis, thanks so much. Next Tuesday night, you and the president in Tampa. Whereabouts in Tampa?
It's going to be at the fairgrounds, the state fairgrounds.
Plenty of room.
12 to 13,000 people. He'll fill that up, and there will be thousands of people outside, I'm sure.
All right. Well, Congressman, thanks so much. We'll be following you through the next week and into Tuesday evening.
Thank you.
We look forward to it.